Hello, welcome to lesson 4.2 about domain and range. If you remember from last time, we said that the domain are the set of all of the inputs. That's all of the x values. And then the range are the outputs or the y values. And we are going to order them from least to greatest and separate them by commas. We're going to put them in brackets. You'll see how we write them in a second. So we want to know what the domain and range of each of these relations are. So the domain is going to be all of the x values. We can highlight those. Got 0, 2, -5, and 9. And we do want to put these in order from least to greatest, which means we're going to put -5 first, then 0, 2, and 9. And then the range are all the y values. We'll highlight those in a different color. We've got 3, 7, 0, and 12. And again, we're going to put those in order. Zero, 3, 7, 12. And for the next relation, the domain is got 0, 4, 1, 4, and we only list them one time. So we've got 0, 1, and then 4. There are 2 4s, but you only write them one time if they're there twice. And then the range we'll highlight the range. We've got 2, 3, 5, and 8. Those are already in order for us. That's nice. And so we list them and we separate them by commas. And then last one down here. The domain the x values, we've got 0, 1, 2, and 3. And for the range, we've got the y values. We've got 1, 1, 4, and 2. Again, we only list them one time, even if they're there twice. So it's going to be 1, 2, 4. All right. Let's move on to the domain and range in a table. This is actually really easy because the domain is the input and they're already all together here. So these are the domains. And we'll still list them. And they're already in order too. They might not necessarily always be in order, but in this case they are. And then the range is the output or the y values, and we already have those all. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to make that a highlighter. And the range, the outputs right there, they're already all listed. They also are already all in order. We got 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. And that's it for the table. For mapping. Okay, I just wanted to do a little bit of the background work here before we went over this so it would be a little faster for you. When you have something that's expressed looking like that for mapping, the domain is going to be all of this stuff. The x's, those are the x values, and they're the inputs, and they're already in order. They should always already be in order for you. That's the domain, and then on the other side of that, the range. Those are all the y values. That's all of that stuff. The outputs where the arrows go to. So again, those should already be in order. We should be able to just write them. So that's for mapping, the domain and the range. My voice is like almost gone here. Now we do the domain and range for a graph, for a discrete graph like this, not a continuous graph. Continuous graphs we're actually going to do a whole lesson on. But for graphs that look like this, where they're not connected, we can list the domain and the range pretty easily. So the domain are all of the x values. So we're going to move along the x-axis here. And all of the places where there is a plotted point, that's going to be included in the domain. So we're moving left to right, because think about it, your domain would be like where you live, your stomping ground. So it's the domain, it lives all along the x-axis here. So we've got a point, there's one here at 1 up here, at 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It just happens it's going to be all the numbers. It's not always like that. And we're just doing the left and rights there. So the domain is where you live, where you stay. And then the range, those are the y values. So that's going to be on the y-axis. You can see the y-axis right here. And it's from the up and down. So you can either think of it as like, oh, well, the price of this ranges from what's the least value and what's the greatest value. Those are outputs. If you're going to try to buy something and you know, like, well, it's going to range from $10 to $30 or whatever it may be. Or you can think like, oh, that guy's got range. He can throw the ball or shoot the ball from far away. Think of it that way too. Anyway, the range. We're still going to want to put them in order. If it's easiest for you to list them first and then order them, that's great. If not, you can just look and see which one is the lowest, and we're going to start with that and then move accordingly. So we have one right here at -1. That's the lowest. So that's how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to move up. We've got -1. We know that goes first. And where's our next one? At 0 right here. And as we move up, we've got one at 1. Got one at 2. We've got one at 3. And we've got one up here at 6. Well, I think I actually made a mistake on the domain. There is not one at 5. I just got excited. So we're actually going to have to erase this guy. Okay, he's gone. So there is no 5. That was my mistake. But you can see how this works. For the domain, we're going to be moving left to right along the x-axis, and then the range, we're going to be moving up and down along the y-axis, and we just list each of what is included where each point is. Because remember, these are all ordered pairs. So if you need to see, just kind of quickly here, you can see that this actually represents the ordered pair 1, 3. So that's the part of the domain and part of the range. right? And you can go through, we can label all of these. This is at 2, 1. This is at 4, 2. This is at 6, 6. 0, or, oops. 5, 0, 3, -1. So you can do that first as well if you want to, and then that's really easy for you to see, like, okay, what are all the numbers in the x values, and what are all the numbers in the y values. I just wanted to show you that each point represents an ordered pair or a coordinate pair, and then you can make your list that way if you would like as well. So that is it for today for finding the domain and the range of all of these relations or functions. And next video, we're going to be working more with graphs and the continuous graphs. Have a great day.